Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ServiceMonster podcast. Hopefully, that'll be the end of our technical delays here. We think the intro got a little laggy, but today we have Bobby Walker. He likes to run around the social clubs and platforms and talk about all his crazy goings on. He's got the Life of the Entrepreneur YouTube and podcast, and he's starting another business now. So we thought we'd bring Bobby on and have him catch up because he's doing an interesting project. Not only is he starting the new business, but he's working himself out of his other business. And so, I've talked about it before, this journey from tech to exec. And when I first started chatting with Bobby, he was a tech and he was on his journey. Cool to watch over these last couple of years. So, Bobby, how you been, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I always enjoyed chatting with you. I hate to bring up a technical question real quick, but Joe, I'm not seeing your face on everyone else. I'm good with it. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So
No, my
just
beautiful face is available to all the casting.
okay.
Save the
Wanted to make sure.
bandwidth at my house just to make sure if my son's playing Fortnite or something, I'm not
Gotcha.
gonna.
Gotcha. No, but back to your question. Things are going great. What I've got going on, I probably have too many things going on right now, especially seeing that I'm not an integrator. I'm probably more of a visionary kind of guy, and I thought, I can integrate these ideas, and I kind of overloaded myself, but I'm having fun digging, doing it, and life's great, man. And thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so I wanted to talk about this journey a little bit, getting off the truck, like maybe mind shifts that the last year or so, because I think it's important. Too many not, and especially if you're in like cleaning, window cleaning, pressure washing, carpet cleaning, your average invoice is 250. It's not easy to business, and your average invoice is 700, $7,500. It's a little easier to get yourself off the truck and replace yourself and
Yeah.
get a process in place. And so I often talk about how some cleaners, the ones that have really broken through, in a lot of ways, they've got to be better business owners than some of these other guys who are just victims of their own success, and not really understand limited revenue. So how are you doing it, Bobby?
Ooh, okay. So the how is probably, you know what, Joe? That's actually like 90% of the equation, and then the how is the other 10. And I'm not suggesting the how is easy, and frankly, I haven't achieved the how just yet, but but we're getting there. So if I can, instead of saying how we're doing it, because I almost made a video about this today, and I started recording it in my car, and it just wasn't coming out well. So maybe it'll be better in a discussion. But the concept I was trying to get through earlier today that I then trashed was we need to get out of the mentality of um, being a washer. Now, everyone watching your show may not know what I mean when I say being a washer, but I'm my first business that I started was a pressure washing and window cleaning company. So all of the pressure washers and all the window cleaners, they call themselves washers. So maybe you're an HVACer, maybe you're a plumber or whatever. But I think the key is not identifying or loving what that deliverable is, and starting to love business. Maybe we need to go old school and stop saying we're entrepreneurs and start saying we're businessmen and businesswomen, and things like that. But for us from day one, when I say us, I'm referring to my almost 22-year-old son that started the business with me a little over 4 years ago. we said right at the beginning, we said we did not start a pressure washing company or a window cleaning company, but we started a sales and a marketing company that just happens to sell and market pressure washing and window cleaning. And the so our goal from day one was not to be the world's best washer, but our goal has been to actually build a business that serves us. And I think, so if you wanted to really sum all that up, go read the book The E-Myth. But that's essentially what Michael Gerber, I think. Um and then if we pursue the business and pursue this entrepreneurial journey from someone that doesn't want to be a washer, but someone that wants to have freedom of time and money. Well, if you start focusing on freedom of time and money, you stop worrying so much about, was that chemical that you use, or was that other guy's process that he used with the pressure washer, or that this, you kind of stop giving a shit about that stuff, to the point. I mean, obviously we got to do a good job on our
If
deliverable,
a failure
but then
just
focus needs to be on that growth. The focus needs to be on the sales and the marketing at first. And then once the sales and marketing really starts to kick in, then the buzzword is systems, but whether we want to call them a process, a system, standard operational procedure, to start, changing. So on day one, you have to be while you are that guy, when you're punched in on the clock, mentally, we still need to make sure that we want to fake it till we make it, if we will, and be the executive before you're the executive. Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely. And so you have 6 people for you now in your cleaning company. And what are their
Yes.
roles?
So in the pressure washing company, we got myself, which I operate as the general manager. I mean, you could call it CEO, I guess, but CEOs don't deal with some of the nitty gritty that I deal with. But so I'm the GM. I've got an office manager that, well, I'll get into all of it a little more, but we know basically what office managers do. I have one sales rep, which is actually my son right now, and then I have 3 technicians. So we run one-man trucks in the press. I've got a 4th technician that'll be starting here in about a week and a half. And actually, I just put an ad out to hire 2 more earlier this morning. So we're growing in that respect, and then I'll be recruiting for salespeople here pretty soon. Those are
One
their
office
goals.
manager and one salesperson, and you're able to easily
Mhm.
feed 3 trucks full time.
Yeah, we spend a lot of money on marketing. I'm not one of the guys that pounds his chest and brags that
They
all
don't
my
spend
stuff
any
is
money
word
on
of.
marketing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I spend a lot of money on
It's
marketing, and
crazy.
business, if you start a business and brag that you don't spend any money on marketing, that's like having a baby and bragging that you're not buying formula. It's like, a good friend of mine, Michael Kaplan, he's a business partner of mine. He says, he goes, money to a business is like food to a baby. If you don't have it, you don't grow. And I think we could replace that with marketing and probably be the same. And before that 1 in a million guy out there says, I grew to $10 trillion and never marketed, I'm very happy. Lightning
Yep.
in a bottle.
An
But the
outlier.
norm,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
for
So
sure.
yeah, so we spend a lot of money on marketing. We'll probably, last year I probably spent about 20% actually, because we were in aggressive growth mode. We're closer to 15% this year, but as the company's starting to, so we're getting a lot more, referrals happen a lot more, things compound, when you get more customers, more clients, more jobs under your belt, we're getting a lot more referrals, a lot more people finding us online, and a lot more repeat business. So we're not marketing as much, and we'll continue to kind of bring the marketing uh, percentage down a little bit over the next few years. We'll never shut it off. We'll probably be at that 15% for another 2 more years, would be my guess.
I think one of
Yeah,
the
that's
things
good.
too that really helped you there too,
Yeah, so that was the thing we focused on day one, was just said to ourselves, listen, how do we make business decisions, or not business decisions? How do we make purchasing decisions? Everyone, or what have you. So we, on day one, we looked, and like the top rated company in our area had more reviews than them, I think. And then we really started cranking it up, and we just hit actually 601 today. I got my 600th one yesterday, and that makes get more people to call you, because that's how people make buying decisions. But two, when you go out and you're standing in front of that potential client, what's the saying? All of the money is in the intangible, the personal, and the unique. And everyone can say they have insurance. Everyone can say that they have the best customers, or the best clients, or the best employees, or whatever. But only one person in my market can say, I've got more Google reviews than the next 15 companies combined. And whenever you can go in and say something like that, even if you're more expensive, it gives you a lot of credibility and authority. So that's a nice one to have. And I'm not looking forward to starting the next business back at zero.
Yeah. Which tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it hasn't started just yet, but we just flew to my oldest son's going to start this one with me as well. We just flew to Denver about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, for some training on how to do this. But we're going to start an epoxy floor coating company. So it's kind of the gold rush right now, I think, in the home service industry. It seems like everybody and their dog is doing it, which is be made in it. We're going to start out doing the small stuff, focusing on garage floors and things like that. We may open up into commercial things, but right now the focus is residential. So we drove out for that, got the for it, but my goal is to have that business launched within 90 days. I don't have a name for it, haven't registered it with the state or anything. No EIN numbers or anything, no logos or nothing. But we hope to start that here within 90 days. Super to those businesses. I'm going to stay on through Q1 of this upcoming year, and I'm actually going to be stepping out of the business, and I'm going to take like a $500 or $1,000 a month salary and be essentially a consultant, just to support Caleb as he's getting his legs under him. And I'm going to be focused on some other things, and just be at investor level at that point in the home service businesses that we have.
Cool. What's in YouTube experience going for you?
Well, awesome and consistent on those fronts. So Journey of a New Entrepreneur is what the show's. And it was started as a hobby, and it is still a hobby, but it's a hobby that actually pays me a little bit of money now, which is cool. But I'm very inconsistent with it. So one of the keys to success with a delivery date of when your new content's going to come out. And sometimes I'll do 6 videos in or 5 podcasts in one. So I'm loving it. But that's one of the things, I don't know if you want to talk about to exec. That's one of the things I'm going to start really working on once I step out of the businesses. Do you want a cool story, or I don't know how much time we have? Is this like a 10-minute podcast or a
hour
podcast?
No, we're good.
Oh, okay,
we're good.
Joe's gonna run on for way more than 10 minutes. You kidding? Like, that's
the intros are more than 10 minutes.
That's right.
Do you happen to know Michael Dahlke, Joe? That's okay. I just didn't know if you know him, but Mike, he started out with one home service business. I think he owns 5 or 6 of them now. small businesses like mine, larger HVAC and electrical companies and stuff like that for bigger privately owned companies and stuff. And I had went down. He's the guy that started the mastermind group that I'm in, which I don't remember if it was on air or before we started recording, but I had mentioned that I've got about 5 or 6 guys in my mastermind group that are all starting these epoxy floor companies. And so Mike started that, and Mike and his partner Michael Kaplan are the guys that bought the huge convention, and then brought me and a few other guys from our mastermind group, and we invested with him after they had made that purchase. So I went and spent a day with him again about a month ago. Sorry, that's a different group. It's called Business, Bourbon, and Bullshit. And serious business, optional bourbon, bullshit mandatory. That's kind of our slogan there. And working on the new stuff we're going to do in the mastermind group. And we got done with that, and he goes, "Bobby, I got a question for you." And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Why?" I'm going to use edited language here because I'm not sure your rules here, but he goes, and I said, "Well, I mean, there's an opportunity to make some money. I think I've got some talent in it. I enjoy it. It gives my children and everyone an opportunity to be involved and have some ownership involved. Just great." He goes, "That's awesome stuff." And he goes, "And listen, in it, you're the right guy. It's the right service. You're in the right market." And he goes, "Why the F are you starting another home service business?" And I looked at him kind of like I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know the answer. I just told you." And he goes, "Bobby, but why?" He goes, "It's not your passion. It's not your thing." And he pinned me down. He goes, "If a bomb and you weren't allowed to start another service, okay, to pay rent and buy some food." And I said, "I want to be a public speaker." And he goes, "Well, why are we not doing that?" And I said, "I don't know, because I'm scared. I'm gonna press you and say that you need to have that process 6 weeks." I'm like, he's younger than me, and I'm like, "You're not my dad," but he was right. And so with the podcast, for things like that, because I love speaking. I get energy from being in front of people and getting reactions, and I love the spotlight and things like that. And I'm thinking, man, if I love all that stuff, I think I develop myself. I think Mike's right. So that'll be a big portion of what I'm doing. I'm going to focus on the huge convention. I'm going to focus on our mastermind group, Business, Bourbon, and BS. And then I'm going to be focusing on doing some of my own events as well as speaking at other events. And I don't know, I don't have an aspiration to be the next Tony Robbins, but I'll tell you what I do want to be is a guy that helps people change their lives through starting their own. I'm very scared of those things. I'm even nervous to say it on this show because it's out now. It's out
No
there
one
for the
listens to this
universe.
show.
And then if
No,
and if
no
I
one
fail,
listens to this show.
Hey.
The employees watch it, right? That's where 30 views come from.
No, I mean, one thing I'll say, I mean, you've no reason to be afraid. I mean, when I was growing up, I had a massive stutter, and so I was always super, super, super just nervous doing any sort of public speaking. Even just standing up in front of the class, valedictorian speech, whatever it was, I would have like nervous sweats and whatnot. But I wanted to do more of that. It's a big reason why I pushed when I first started here at ServiceMonster was to be on the show. It's something I've always wanted to do because it's exactly like you. Like you want and like you're very very down to earth, you're very relatable, and I think everything that you've said, I mean, people relate to that. It's why you kind of exploded on your channel the way that you did, even if you are inconsistent. So I don't think
I think you're right, but for some reason my brain's not listening to you, and I'm still nervous. But
Yeah.
but
Well, it's hard, you know.
but
How do you make, 50, 80, 100, 120 grand a year,
mhm,
doing speaking gigs, right? Which
yeah,
would be
I
the
don't know. I
right,
don't know.
right. Of
Always
course.
in the first 12 months, that's what I want to try to achieve. Is I want to try to make. I think I can't remember if we said 50 or 60 now, so it's a solid goal, right?
Right.
But I've got it written down in my book. But the plan is in the first, I'm going to
Yeah,
try.
good luck, man. There's still this little thing. I know you've been traveling. We're not out of the woods yet, but I do see you traveling.
Yeah.
What have you been to? Is life starting to come back? What out there?
Well, everywhere I've been, I mean, minus if you took masks out of the equation and empty movie theaters, at least in the few places I've been, it kind of looks normal. I that one was actually still kind of shut down a little bit back in January. But I've been to Nashville a couple times this year, maybe 3 times actually, and just got back from Denver, and then of course, living here in Orlando. Maybe I'm just used to it. Maybe I'm the frog in the pot that the water's just been.
Has
Uh,
attendance to the shows been? I mean, it's got to be, down.
Yeah. Well, now I haven't been traveling for like conventions and stuff.
Okay.
The travel I've done in Nashville has been for our mastermind. But it's a small intimate group, so we have
Right.
about
Right.
30 to 35 people anytime. Down in or up in Denver was there was about 8 or 9 of us for training. So, but when we're in the towns and the cities like Nashville, you go down to Broadway down there, bars and everything are, it's happening. It's just
Yeah.
rocking and rolling and doing its thing. And frankly, I like it because I'm not political on this topic at all. But one way or the other, people aren't. A lot of people don't seem too concerned with the COVID thing. Whether that's I don't know. I'm enjoying life. I can tell you that.
You have an inside track in the huge convention. When is that?
Yeah. So the huge convention is August 19th and 20th in Atlanta, Georgia. The day before on the 18th, there's some additional stuff, but that's like a separate ticket. So the huge convention is the night. Once you get your ticket, all the classes and speakers and everything are included. And then there's like some groups like I think Michael Hinderleiter has locked his thing in with powerwash.com on doing some training the day before. Talking with Michael Draper. I don't know if he's signed the deal yet, but I think Draper may be doing a class the day before as well on training and stuff like that. So, but it's going to be good. And for anyone that doesn't know what the convention is, I'll tell you in 30 seconds or less. But in our industry, pressure washing and window cleaning, we have the biggest trade show in the industry where you can go look at all the toys and machines and all that stuff. But that's where the technical talk stops. All of the speakers and all of the classes, 2 days full of classes. It's going to be stuff, whether it's leadership, marketing, sales, developing your team, how to develop, training systems, things like that. All of those types of topics are the things that you can learn. So I think you're going to go to 5 or maybe 6 breakout sessions, as well as 3 awesome speakers from the stage. So on day one, go to thehugeconvention.com and check it out.
Nice. And Responsicon?
Who is in there is the event planner for I couldn't even tell you what the date is. I had no idea. I know it'll be January or February, but I'm not sure. But that's a great, response as any sort of business that deals with sales, really. It's ResponseCon is a 3-day event, all geared towards sales. Well, maybe some marketing too, but you don't have to be like a ResponsiBid user to. It's a sales conference by ResponsiBid. So
Right.
it's probably great for someone that was just starting their business to go, or that hasn't started yet to go, but it's essential for someone that's already got a business to kind of get to that next level on the sales and marketing side of things.
Right.
And it'll be in Arizona sometime in January.
One had to be sort of postponed, right? Like
Yeah, they just
yeah.
nixed it because
Yep.
one thing with ResponseCon. So Kurt, if you guys don't know Kurt Kempton, he's super. I've got about, I don't know, I'd have to count them, 4, maybe 5 guys in my closest inner circle, and Kurt's one of them. Was his customer first, and then I got to know him from being his customer. But when he created ResponseCon, his whole thing was he wanted it to be like social. So that's an event where the meals are together and stuff, breakfast and lunch and all those things. And whenever the COVID thing prevented him from doing it, doesn't line up with his core values on what that event should be. So
Yeah, I remember,
unfortunately, I had to nix it. Yeah.
I wasn't at the previous one, but some of the
Mm.
speeches and whatnot, and I got all over the forums tons of positive feedback for it. So
Yeah. Park, that one you're talking about was technically his second one, but it was, in my mind, the first one was like beta, and then that was 1.0. Yeah, the one that was in Arizona, it was legit. So
Very good. Well, Bobby, any parting words before we say adieu?
Well, gosh, thank you for listening to me this long. Whoever you are out there, thanks, Mom. The thing I've got to sign off every time in life. You better have a damn good reason for it. But if you're not pursuing those things, there's no good reason for it. But if I could just take a second and explain what I mean is, if you're not operating your own business, is maybe you have a loved one that has a health issue and you have insurance, and if you moved and you couldn't carry it over, that's a good reason. It's a temporary reason because we're going to get through that, but that's a good reason right now. If you haven't put people in place yet, it's okay. You have a damn good reason that you're not off of the. If you're not pursuing that, there's no good reason, right? So I think the thing that people is, don't be a bitch. Don't be someone that doesn't pursue your goals because of fear, or don't blame someone else because you can't achieve your goals. That's what I call a bitch. And then make sure you're working towards what you have. Be purposeful. And if you want that thing, it's okay if you don't have it today, but you need to be planning and making sure. Best advice. I know that wasn't warm, fuzzy, and exciting. Approve of said message, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it touches on my my incrementalism, the philosophy. Just moving forward one piece at a time, but with a destination that you reassess and you just march to, and eventually you find yourself.
Joe, I got a good analogy for your what's this called again? What did you call it?
Incrementalism. Yeah.
Well, I got your symbol for your incrementalism philosophy, that you're building here. It's a raptor. like, the dinosaur.
Oh
Because
yeah.
one of the analogies I always love using when talking about this exact thing is be like the raptors from. We didn't see this in the film, but they said it. They talked about it, and they said the raptors were they kept attacking the electrical fence, and they said, why would they do that? He says, and he's steps back 20 yards from the fence, puts his head down, runs forward, hits the fence, gets shocked to all the hell, backs up. So what's he do? He backs up 20 yards and he just moves about a half of a degree, and then he starts running forward again, and he just systematically keeps doing that until he finds that weak spot and he pushes through and gets to the other side. And he's not sitting there posting on Facebook saying you just can't get ahead in life, because in my part of the country, fences. I'm going to keep going until I get there. So I love it.
Unfortunately, you put a raptor in 30 million years of evolution, and you end up with a chicken.
Well, I mean, all I want to say that Bobby is Jurassic Park's probably my favorite movie of all time. It's like
Love
it's
it.
amazing. Like the novel's
It
really good
changed
too.
my life.
We'll
But-
find a way.
I was about to just start quoting stuff while you were talking about that. I mean, we practice here a lot. I've been on kind of a weight loss journey of myself pretty much for the last point. And you like, especially if you relapse and you regain or whatever, and you get really hard on yourself. And like you said, like it all comes up here. If you're down on yourself, the fear, whatever it might be. But if you look behind, it was a few years back. As long as you
Yep.
continue taking those small steps, and sometimes you want to take the larger steps. Maybe there's a reason.
There's a great term saying on that. It's Dan. Was it strategic coach? I'm drawing a blank right now on his name, but he was gain versus gap. Which is that thing? Because if we keep looking at that gap, we get discouraged and we'll probably never get there. But if we just turn around and look at how far away we are from the starting line, oh my God. And I'm not trying to keep this thing going for you guys. I know you were asking for closing arguments there, Joe. But.
Oh no. We're really.
Well, I mean, I have a fun thing I wanted to do anyways before we called it a day, and I felt bad because we're like all this, philosophical going. But I feel like it's the first time. I feel like we got to vote for best beer to the group.
Oh,
well.
So I mean,
I'll vote for both of you. I know it ain't me.
So if you guys want to throw 1 for Joe, 2 for Bobby, 3 for Adam,
Yeah.
listeners out there, vote 3.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. Joe, are you going to be at any events coming up? Are you going to be at the Huge or?
Not. It on lead acquisition, which is why we go to those shows, right? And
yep,
we have not yet had to employees about putting travel back on the agenda. Everybody's kind of comfortable working from home now, and productivity is great, and attitudes are great. So it's been a really big benefit for us. We're probably going to need to start getting back out there. Fully vaccinated, what the numbers look like, and and whether or not I can go will depend on where my little one's at, right? He's going to need open heart surgery eventually, and I can't have anything messing with that. So
understood.
Yeah, not this year. ServiceMonster will be not physically present in 2021, depending on what my sales manager wants to do. So,
well, I'm looking forward to that. I don't. Maybe I've got a bad memory, but I can't remember, Joe, if you and I have ever met in person. I don't think we've got to hang out or have a drink or anything like that. So
Never hung out, but maybe we've shaken hands at a few conferences.
Okay, yeah, but
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
I
Well,
think
Bobby,
I would
thank you
have the
so much.
fun.
Yeah, as would I. As would I. Date and all the fun things that you got going on. Thank you so much for your attention. And until next time, be safe.